Beloved child of God, there is a reason this message is reaching you now. Not because you searched endlessly for answers, and not because something is wrong with you, but because something within you has been quietly asking to be understood. Perhaps you have wondered, why do I feel things so deeply? Why do emotions seem to linger in me long after a moment has passed? This question is not accidental. It is an invitation to awareness. There are people who move through life lightly, untouched by the emotional atmosphere around them. And then there are those whose hearts are attentive, who notice tone before words, tension before conflict, sorrow before it is spoken. You may have sensed joy in a room before anyone laughed, or heaviness before anyone admitted pain. This does not mean you are fragile. It means you are perceptive. God created human beings for connection. Scripture tells us that we are to love one another, to carry one another's burdens, and to walk in compassion. Yet love was never meant to become self-erasure. Compassion was never meant to exhaust the soul, and empathy was never intended to blur the line between what is yours to feel and what must be released. Many who absorb others' emotions grow up learning to be aware of everyone else before themselves. They learn to listen closely, to adjust quickly, to stay sensitive to the room. Over time, this awareness can become overwhelming. You may feel tired without knowing why. You may carry emotions that do not reflect your own circumstances. You may feel responsible for harmony, peace, or comfort in ways that leave you depleted. Scripture offers wisdom here. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. Guarding your heart does not mean closing it. It means caring for it wisely. God does not ask you to absorb every feeling you encounter. He invites you to love with discernment, to care with balance, and to rest without guilt. Even Jesus withdrew from crowds. Even he sought solitude to pray and recover. Sensitivity requires replenishment. Awareness requires grounding. Rest is not avoidance. It is obedience to the design God placed within you. Beloved child of God, this message is not here to label you or define you narrowly. It is here to help you understand yourself with clarity and kindness. What you feel deeply can become a source of wisdom rather than weight. Awareness can become strength rather than strain. But first, it must be recognized and tended with care. If you have ever felt overwhelmed by emotions that seem to come from nowhere, if you have struggled to separate your feelings from those around you, if you long to remain compassionate without losing yourself, stay with me. You are not too sensitive. You are not failing. You are learning how to live with empathy and peace, and that learning is sacred work. Chapter 1: The Gift and the Weight of Awareness. Beloved child of God, before anything else, it is important to understand this truth. What you experience is not a flaw in your design. It is part of how you were formed. Awareness, deep, emotional, intuitive awareness, is a gift. But like all gifts, it must be stewarded wisely. From an early age, some hearts learn to listen more closely than others. They notice subtle shifts, a pause in a voice, a change in energy, a sadness hidden behind a smile. These hearts often become places where others rest. People confide in you. They open up. They feel seen. And while this is beautiful, it can quietly become heavy. You may not always recognize when the weight begins to accumulate. It often arrives subtly, through tiredness that sleep does not fix, through emotions that seem disproportionate to your day, through a sense of carrying something unnamed. This happens because awareness without boundaries slowly turns inward. Instead of observing emotion, you begin to absorb it. God never intended awareness to become a burden. In Scripture, wisdom is described as something that brings life and peace, not exhaustion. When awareness leads to depletion, it is not because you are doing something wrong. It is because you have not yet been taught how to hold this gift without letting it overtake you. There is a difference between compassion and responsibility. Compassion allows you to care. Responsibility makes you feel accountable for feelings that are not yours to manage. Many sensitive hearts cross this line without realizing it. They begin to believe that if others are uncomfortable, they must fix it. If others are hurting, they must carry it. This belief may feel loving, but it is not what God asks of you. Jesus loved deeply, yet he did not heal every person he encountered. He listened, yet he withdrew. He was moved by compassion, yet he trusted God with outcomes. This is not distance, it is discernment. Chapter 1 invites you to gently observe yourself, not to judge, not to diagnose, but to notice. When do you feel most drained? When do emotions arise that do not seem connected to your own life? When do you feel peace? And when do you feel pulled outward? Awareness becomes healthy when it is anchored. Without grounding, it floats freely, collecting everything it touches. But with grounding, through prayer, rest, and self-understanding, it becomes steady, purposeful, and calm. Beloved child of God, you are not meant to carry everything you feel. This chapter is not asking you to change who you are. It is inviting you to begin learning how to remain present without becoming overwhelmed. This is the beginning of discernment. This is the beginning of balance. This is the beginning of caring for your heart as faithfully as you care for others. And God walks with you as you learn. Chapter 2. Learning the language of your inner world. Beloved child of God, awareness becomes overwhelming when it speaks louder than understanding. Many sensitive hearts feel deeply, but have never been taught how to interpret what they feel. Emotions arrive like weather, sudden, intense, unexplained, and without guidance, the soul assumes every storm must be personal. But not every feeling is a message about you. God designed emotions to be signals, not rulers. They are meant to inform you, not command you. When you begin to learn the language of your inner world, you discover that some emotions are invitations to act, some are invitations to rest, and others are simply passing through. One of the most grounding questions you can learn to ask is this: is this feeling mine? This question is not meant to create distance from compassion. It is meant to restore clarity. Sensitive hearts often confuse resonance with ownership. You may feel sorrow because sorrow is present, not because it belongs to you. You may sense tension because the atmosphere is tense, not because you have done something wrong. Scripture reminds us that peace is a fruit of the Spirit. Peace does not mean the absence of emotion, it means stability within it. When your inner world is unexamined, emotions stack upon one another. When it is understood, emotions move through you without settling into your bones. Learning this language takes patience. It may feel unfamiliar at first to pause instead of reacting, to reflect instead of absorbing. You may notice how quickly your body responds to the feelings of others: tight shoulders, shallow breath, a heaviness in the chest. These are not signs of weakness, they are signals asking for gentleness and attention. Jesus often asked questions, not because he lacked knowledge, but because questions create space for truth to surface. You are allowed to ask yourself gentle questions as well. What am I feeling right now? When did it begin? What do I need in this moment? These questions do not make you self-centered. They make you grounded. God does not rush this learning. He is patient with the process of becoming aware. He understands that clarity grows slowly, like roots strengthening beneath the soil. Each time you pause, instead of absorbing, you are teaching your soul that it is safe to remain present without being overtaken. Chapter 2 invites you to begin listening inward with compassion rather than urgency. You do not need to solve every feeling. You do not need to understand everything at once. Awareness becomes peaceful when it is met with curiosity instead of fear. Beloved child of God, your emotions are not enemies. They are messengers. And as you learn their language, you will discover that discernment brings relief, not distance. This is the work of grounding. This is the practice of clarity. This is the gentle unfolding of inner peace. And God remains near as you learn to listen wisely. Chapter 3 Boundaries as Acts of Love. Beloved child of God, one of the most misunderstood lessons for sensitive hearts is that boundaries are not walls, they are expressions of love. Many who feel deeply believe that setting limits is selfish or unkind, but the truth is the opposite. Boundaries protect your ability to love fully, sustainably, and faithfully. Without them, your heart can become a reservoir for everyone else's needs, leaving little room for your own soul to breathe. From childhood, you may have been taught to notice everyone else first. Perhaps you learned to anticipate moods, to absorb tension, to smooth over discomfort. While these skills can feel admirable, they are only helpful when balanced by the awareness that your needs are just as important as anyone else's. God's design is not one of endless self-sacrifice, but of harmony, a rhythm between giving and receiving, presence and rest, compassion and protection. Boundaries are the practical expression of this harmony. They tell the world and your own soul that you are here with love intact, but not at the cost of exhaustion. Saying no does not make you unkind, it makes you honest. Stepping back from situations that overwhelm your spirit does not make you distant, it makes you wise. And asking for space, time, or help does not make you weak, it makes you human. Jesus demonstrated boundaries in his life. He healed, taught, and served with deep empathy, yet he also withdrew to quiet places to pray. He did not apologize for protecting his time, his energy, or his heart. These examples are invitations for you to see that limits are not rejection, they are renewal. Setting boundaries begins with awareness. Notice when your body feels tight, when your thoughts are racing, when your emotions are unusually heavy. These are signals that a boundary is needed. Then, consider what kind of boundary will restore balance. Sometimes it is a simple pause, leaving a conversation early, muting notifications, or saying, "I need a moment." Sometimes it is more structural, limiting exposure to draining environments or rethinking commitments that overextend you. Boundaries are also about communication. They are most effective when shared with honesty and humility, not guilt or fear. You might say, "I need some quiet time to recharge," or "I can listen, but I cannot take this on entirely." These words are acts of love. Love for yourself and love for others, because you can only serve and connect authentically when your heart is whole. Beloved child of God, know that boundaries are sacred, not shameful. They are a form of stewardship for the gift of your sensitivity. They protect your heart so it can continue to see, feel, and respond without being overwhelmed. This chapter is an invitation. Begin to view limits not as denial, but as grace. Protect your heart with care, for in that protection lies strength, freedom, and the ability to love fully without losing yourself. This is the practice of wise compassion. This is the art of self-care as obedience. This is the sacred rhythm of giving and receiving. And God honors each boundary you set, for He made your heart to thrive, not merely to endure. Chapter 4. The Discipline of Rest. Beloved child of God, sensitivity and awareness carry a cost, if not balanced with intentional rest. Many hearts like yours feel compelled to remain present at all times, to absorb, to respond, to comfort, without realizing that the soul itself needs pause. Rest is not indulgence. It is not weakness. It is obedience. It is the sacred rhythm God built into creation. Work, yes, but also restoration. The natural world teaches this. Trees do not stretch endlessly without pause. Rivers flow, yet they gather in pools. Even the sun rests each night, giving way to darkness, only to rise again in light. You too were made to cycle between engagement and replenishment. When you ignore this rhythm, exhaustion accumulates quietly, often disguised as irritability, confusion, or heaviness. You may notice your mind racing, your emotions deepening beyond proportion, or a persistent fatigue that sleep alone cannot fix. These are not failures. They are signals that your spirit is asking for care. Scripture offers guidance here, showing us that even Jesus withdrew. After crowds pressed close, after teaching and healing, He sought quiet spaces to pray. He did not wait until He was depleted. He preemptively replenished His heart. This is the model for sensitive souls. Rest before exhaustion becomes unavoidable. Rest before you lose clarity. Rest before your compassion turns into burden. The discipline of rest takes many forms. It can be physical, slowing your body, allowing sleep, stretching, or walking in nature. It can be emotional, journaling, reflecting, or letting go of feelings that do not belong to you. It can be spiritual, prayer, meditation, reading scripture, or simply sitting in silence with God. Each act is not optional. It is a step toward preserving the gift of your awareness. Rest also requires intentionality. Many sensitive hearts wait until they are overwhelmed to pause, but restoration is most effective when chosen freely, not forced by necessity. Set aside moments daily where your heart, mind, and spirit can breathe. Protect these moments as sacred appointments, as seriously as you would a commitment to others. Boundaries and rest work together. Boundaries create the space for rest. Rest allows you to uphold boundaries with grace. Without rest, boundaries may feel rigid or resentful. With rest, they become loving, flexible, and sustainable. In this way, care for yourself becomes inseparable from care for others. Beloved child of God, learning to rest is learning to honor your design. You are not meant to pour endlessly from an empty cup. Your capacity to empathize, to love, to perceive depends on your willingness to pause and replenish. This chapter is an invitation. Embrace rest as a spiritual practice, not a luxury. Receive it without guilt. Protect it without apology. Allow it to heal, ground, and strengthen you. This is the rhythm of life as God intended. This is the discipline that preserves both heart and soul. This is the sacred space where your awareness becomes strength rather than weight, and God meets you there in the quiet, teaching your heart that it is enough and that rest is a form of divine obedience. Chapter 5. Compassion without losing yourself. Beloved child of God, sensitivity is a gift, and empathy is a calling. Yet many hearts like yours struggle with the subtle line between compassionate engagement and emotional overextension. You may have experienced moments when caring deeply left you drained, or when offering support seemed to demand more than you had to give. This chapter is a gentle reminder. Compassion is most powerful when it flows from a grounded, whole heart. To love without losing yourself begins with understanding that you are not responsible for carrying the burdens of others in full. Scripture teaches us to bear one another's burdens, but it does not command that you absorb every weight into your own soul. There is a difference between walking alongside someone and carrying them. Walking alongside requires presence, empathy, and encouragement. Carrying requires taking on what God has not intended for you. Compassion becomes sustainable when paired with discernment. Sensitive hearts often confuse resonance with obligation, feeling the pain, fear, or anxiety of others as if it were their own. This does not make you less kind. It makes you human. The key is learning to notice where your emotions end and another's begin. This awareness does not create distance, it creates clarity, allowing you to respond with wisdom rather than reaction. One practice that nurtures this clarity is intentional reflection. After a conversation, ask yourself, which of these feelings belong to me? Which belong to the other person? Where is God asking me to act, and where is He asking me to release? Over time, this reflection becomes instinctive. You will begin to notice when to step forward with compassion and when to step back with prayer. Another essential aspect of compassionate discernment is self-care. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Caring for your spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being is not selfish, it is sacred. When you maintain your boundaries, prioritize rest, and attend to your own heart, your empathy becomes sustainable, even transformative. You can love without exhaustion, engage without absorption, and offer support without losing your sense of self. Jesus modeled this beautifully. He healed the sick and taught the crowds, yet He retreated to pray, recharge, and realign with God's will. He did not apologize for protecting His energy. Compassion was His ministry, but it was never at the cost of His soul. Your heart can follow this example. To love deeply, to care meaningfully, and to remain intact while doing so. Beloved child of God, this chapter invites you to embrace a new rhythm of compassion, one in which empathy flows freely but returns safely to your own heart. Here, love is deliberate, boundaries are honored, and rest is sacred. You are learning not only to care for others, but also to preserve your own spirit in the process. This is the practice of wise love. This is the art of empathy that strengthens rather than depletes. This is the sacred balance of giving with discernment. And God walks with you, guiding your heart to care fully, deeply, and wisely, never losing yourself in the process. Beloved child of God, as we reach the close of this journey together, let us pause and remember the truths we have explored. You were created with a heart that feels deeply, a spirit that notices, and a soul that longs to understand. Sensitivity is not a flaw. Empathy is not a weakness. Awareness is not a burden. These are gifts, sacred parts of your design, and they call you toward a life of intentional love, rooted in rest, guided by boundaries, and nourished by discernment. You have learned that your emotions are messengers, not masters. You have discovered that rest is not a luxury, but a discipline, a sacred act of obedience to the rhythms God placed within you. You have seen that boundaries are not rejection. They are acts of stewardship, honoring both your heart and the hearts of those you serve. You have practiced compassion that flows without losing yourself, empathy that strengthens instead of drains. Now, beloved, take a deep and steadying breath and allow this truth to settle. You are enough as you are. Your sensitivity is your strength. Your empathy is your ministry. Your awareness is your wisdom. God is not asking you to shrink to make the world easier for others. He is asking you to thrive so that you can give with joy, act with clarity, and love without depletion. Declare this over yourself today. I am a beloved child of God. I am created to feel deeply, to notice, and to care. I will honor my heart with rest and boundaries. I will love with discernment and compassion. I am not responsible for the burdens that are not mine to carry. I am learning to live in balance, guided by God's grace. Beloved, these are not mere words. They are a covenant with yourself and with the God who knows you intimately. Each time you rest when weary, each time you set a gentle boundary, each time you distinguish your emotions from those around you, you are living in alignment with the heart of God. You are practicing the sacred art of being sensitive and whole at the same time. Remember, growth is a process, not a single event. You will have days when emotions feel heavy, when boundaries feel uncomfortable, when rest seems elusive. These days do not erase the progress you have made. They are part of the rhythm of human life. Meet them with kindness toward yourself. Treat your heart as you would treat a beloved friend, with patience, compassion, and respect. Let your sensitivity become your compass, not your cage. Let your awareness guide you to acts of love that are sustainable, peaceful, and holy. Let rest refresh you, boundaries protect you, and discernment free you to live fully in the calling God has placed within you. Beloved child of God, the path ahead is not without challenge, but it is rich with possibility. You are equipped for it. You are called to it. You are loved through it. Step forward with courage, with grace, and with the gentle power of a heart that knows both its depth and its limits. This is your declaration. You are a vessel of love, a keeper of wisdom, and a steward of your own heart. You can feel deeply, care fully, and remain whole. And in that wholeness, God's love flows through you, touching others without draining you, healing without harm, and guiding you toward the life you were created to live. Live in this truth, beloved. Rest in it, guard it, celebrate it, and remember always, your sensitivity is sacred, your heart is precious, and your life is enough.